It's simple. If you want to get in better shape than 99% of the people out there, you have to do what 99% of people are not willing to do. Now, I know this sounds obvious because there's a lot of confusion, especially in the health and fitness industry, on what to do to get your body in shape. And if you're ever on social media and you're watching videos, you will realize that people will say some wild shit. You have some people who will tell you to do water fasting for 48 hours. You have other people who are telling you to completely cut out sugar out of your lives as if it is the devil. And you have one person who says that you can liquefy muscle after 20 minutes of exercise.
It takes 3 minutes to liquefy lean muscle.
It takes 3 minutes to liquefy lean muscle.
Are we serious right now? Now let's get real. If an action is uncommon, it is most likely not going to get you in shape, especially for the long term. By definition, in order to be more fit than 99% of people out there, you have to do what 99% of people are not doing. And here's the harsh truth. Most people you see are not in shape. When it comes to weight loss hacks, detoxes, these convoluted workouts, all of it is largely a distraction. And to prove my point, I'm going to show you the habits of some of the world's fittest people. And by the way, my name is Dan Go. I help high-achieving entrepreneurs lose weight, boost energy, and get lean without having to do any crazy diets, without giving up their lifestyles, and without having to spend hours in the gym. So if you're down for that, let's keep watching. Now, I want to start with myself. Now, I'm not claiming that I'm fitter than 99% of the people out there, but I'll tell you a little bit of my story, especially when it comes to diets and getting myself into my best shape. So I started off by doing every single fad diet that you can think of. I did this diet where you drink nothing but protein shakes every single day for a full month. And did I lose weight? Absolutely, I lost weight. Did I gain the weight back? Absolutely, I gained the weight back. I've tried circuit training. I've tried weightlifting. I've tried powerlifting. I've tried everything. And the thing that I realized through my journey of just trying to keep my body in shape is the fact that it is mostly the simple habits that work the best. Now, while these may seem simple in nature, I assure you, simple does not mean easy. The one thing that you want to hone in on is consistency. It is actually not just consistency, it is the boring consistency. That is what you're after. A lot of times people try to chase these really shiny things, these really shiny objects, when really they should be buckling down on the pillars of getting your body in shape. So here's the first one. The very first one is creating a body dashboard for yourself. And here's what I mean. If you don't know how much you weigh, how are you expecting to improve on your weight? If you don't even know how much body fat you have, how do you expect to change your body composition? And these are just simple things. We're just talking about losing weight, stepping on the scale, knowing your inches, but there's also deeper things involved as well. Things like your blood work, things like getting a DEXA scan. But you need some form of a dashboard, some form of what we call KPIs or key performance indicators so you can measure your way on the way to the shape that you want to get in. The fittest people in the world, they do not leave any measurements on the table. They measure every single aspect of their performance when it comes to their body composition, when it comes to their VO2 max, especially when it comes to their workouts. And if you're not tracking any of these things, then guess what? You're just guessing, and then most likely you're not going to make any improvements because what you measure is what you manage. Now, the next habit is to get clear about the quality and the quantity of food that is going into your body. This is what I call knowing the cost of food. So I use this example with my clients all the time. So I always ask them, okay, so how much was that car that you bought the other day? They'll tell me exactly what it is. It's like 40 grand. I paid X amount for the upgrades, whatever it is. And then I ask them, okay, cool. How much did that Chipotle meal that you just ate cost your body? And they'll give me a complete blank. And what I'm talking about is the idea of tracking your foods, measuring your foods. And you don't have to do this for the rest of your life, but you have to understand the cost of food that is going into your body. And it's not just about the quantity of food, it's also about the quality of food. The nutrients that you put into your body make a huge difference in your focus, your energy levels, and your mood. The fittest people out there, they are tracking what is going into their bodies on a regular basis. And then, like I said, they're not doing it forever, but they are definitely doing it when they are trying to get themselves into the best shape possible. Now, the next habit is to focus on using the gym to get as strong and as muscular as possible. Now, this differs with a lot of the fittest people because, quite frankly, they're doing different things. Like Matt Frazier, he does CrossFit workouts. You can see The Rock, he does bodybuilding workouts. But what's the thing that they do on a regular basis? They are always doing similar workouts, making sure that they are making gains inside of those workouts. And they're using something that is called progressive overload. And they are periodizing their workouts to make sure that they are peaking at the time that they need to peak. Now, I know that you're not The Rock, I know that you're not Matt Frazier, but here's what you should do if you are not doing this already. Instead of changing every single one of your workouts every single day that you go to the gym, coming in without a plan, you should be getting strong in the basic movements. And I'm talking about the squat, the deadlift, the overhead press, the bench press, or what we call the horizontal press. You want to be getting stronger in a horizontal back row and a vertical back row. You also want to be getting stronger in some sort of hip thrust motion. You want to be getting stronger in some sort of hip hinge motion. And you want to be doing all of this using full range of motion and controlling the tempo. Now, apart from this video, you want to be searching out what progressive overload means, what periodization means to you. You want to be searching that on YouTube or wherever it is to get clear about how to put it into your workouts. Now, the next thing that the fittest people do, we're going back to nutrition, is getting 90% of your calories from single ingredient, nutrient dense sources. Also, you want to be making sure that you are getting enough protein. And how much protein is that? That's going to be 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, for a lot of people who are watching this, if you're not attuned to kind of like the fitness and health industry, that will be a lot of protein. But the really cool thing about getting protein and also getting your foods from single ingredient, nutrient dense sources is that you are going to feel so full as opposed to getting your food from McDonald's or some sort of like fast food chain, because the volume of food matters. There is a way to eat more food at less calories, and that is through the volumization of your food. And that means getting enough fiber from your vegetables, enough protein to make sure you're filling up. And then when you do these two things, it becomes one of the easiest ways to not only get lean, but to feel better, to feel more energetic, and to feel fuller from every single meal that you eat. Now, the next one is the one that not a lot of people take into mind, which is to find your window of eating. So I find that every single person has a perfect window to how they like to eat. And that can differ from one person to another. Some people like to skip breakfast, some people don't like to skip breakfast. I like to employ what I call a circadian rhythm style of eating for each and every one of my clients. I'll say for about 90% of them. And it looks like this. So you're gonna take the time that you go to sleep. You're gonna take that time, and then 3 to 5 hours before you go to sleep, you're gonna have your final meal. Now, this does a couple of things. It's going to make sure that you are going to enhance the quality of your sleep, because when you're not digesting food before you go to sleep, guess what? You're gonna sleep a lot better. And then that is gonna be a lead domino to controlling your appetite the next day. 3 to 5 hours before that, you're gonna have your second meal, and 3 to 5 hours before that, you're gonna have your first meal. I find that 3 meals is a good middle ground. This can differ for a lot of people, but I find for about like 80% of my clients, they work well with 3 meals a day, because what it does is it regulates their hunger. So a lot of times when people just skip a meal or they skip breakfast, they come up to the nighttime and they actually get increased appetite as a result of skipping these meals. So this will break the paradigm a lot for a lot of people who like to skip breakfast and who can't control their appetite at night. One of the fixes that we do with our clients is making sure that we regulate their hunger by having regular meal times within the perfect window of their eating. Now, something else that you're going to notice with a lot of the fittest people out there is that they don't spend hours of their day inside like I do. They actually spend a lot of their time in nature, and for very good reason. The sun is like the energizer for our internal batteries. This doesn't mean that you have to spend all day under the sun, but you want to get out there, you want to get out within the trees, within nature, you want to get out and smell the whatever it is that's outside, and make sure that we have sun exposure, make sure that we're doing this outside in nature and getting out on a regular basis, because this is going to decrease our stress levels, it's going to lower our cortisol, and it's also just going to make us feel amazing after we do it. The next one is going to be having some form of movement practice. This differs from one person to another. A lot of them, they like to do zone 2 cardio. They like to do a lot of HIIT. My clients, again, they're not trying to be the fittest people on the planet. We actually just say, you don't need to do any cardio. Just get 8 to 10K steps a day. And this is perfect for the people that I work with, which are entrepreneurs. The reason why is because walking and any kind of like moderate based type of cardio movements, they stimulate the brain. It helps them be more creative. It enhances this thing called BDNF, which is like fertilizer for the brain, which creates more neurons inside the brain that help you just think better and be more creative. And if you do this out in nature, it's one of the best things ever. So we just get our clients to do 8 to 10K steps out in nature, and that is one of the best habits that you can bring into your life. Now, the next one is hydration. Now, this differs with a lot of people, but what we find is that when our clients are properly hydrated, they are full of energy, they feel fuller from their meals, and they don't feel like they have to eat as much. One of the things that we also do is we add electrolytes to our water. And the reason why we do this is because it allows the water to be absorbed by our bodies a lot more efficiently. Now, this doesn't mean that the fittest people on the planet don't drink Diet Cokes or don't drink anything that's outside of water, but they are primarily hydrating with clean, filtered drinking water. Now, the next thing that you want to do as we are implementing all of these habits is we want to be able to fix our relationship with food. So a lot of times with a lot of people, especially if they're out of shape, they use food as a numbing agent. Anytime that they feel stress or anytime that they feel an emotion, they're using food as a distraction to get away from that emotion. What you have to do is you have to learn to manage your emotions in healthy ways, whether that be taking walks, whether that be exercising. Now, you want to be managing your emotion in healthy ways. I actually had a conversation with a psychologist, and one of the things that he gets to do when his clients are feeling anxious, he doesn't help them work through it logically or using kind of like this talk therapy. What he does first, he gets them to do air squats to failure. And then even when they think they've reached failure, he gets them to do a couple more on top of that. And then most times when he asks them, how does the anxiety feel? They usually go from like an 8 or a 9 down to about a 4 or 5. So you want to be using healthy ways in which to manage your emotions, and you want to fix this relationship that you have with food. So if you find that you are eating your emotions a lot, you want to be able to understand why that is happening. And then you also want to learn how to manage your emotion in healthy ways. Now, this next one is going to sting for a lot of people, but it has to be said. Just quit drinking alcohol. Once you understand the risk and reward of drinking alcohol, you understand that it's just not worth it. And I actually stopped drinking alcohol for a full year. And after the full year, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to bring it back in moderation. And I did bring it back in moderation, and I had a lot more control over it. But after doing it, I realized that the cost is not worth the benefit that I get out of it. And this reminds me of the story that John Mayer was telling someone before, which is he actually was at Drake's 30th birthday party.
I have the most amazing last night of my life drinking story. And it was Drake's 30th birthday party, and I made quite a fool of myself.
Really?
And he just got the most hammered that he ever had been. And after the party, he went back home. He was hungover for like 6 full days. And on the 6th day of being hungover, he asked himself, what percentage of potential do you want to reach? It could be 60% potential and 40% fun. And when he asked himself that, he was like, no, I want to reach my full potential. And during that conversation, he knew what he had to do. He gave up alcohol. After he gave up alcohol, he had one of the most successful years of his life ever. He was the most productive he had ever been. And one of the things that you have to realize about alcohol is that it is really fun sometimes in the time that you're doing it, but the drawbacks that you get afterwards, you don't realize how much you are giving up and leaving on the table in terms of your potential. Now, the next one is more on the mental side, which is the idea that you have to find your ultimate why. You have to understand, okay, so why do I want to get in shape? And even though this video is about getting in better shape than 99% of people out there, it has to be about you. What are your inherent reasons why you want to do this for yourself? And I'll tell you right now, it has to be past looking good. It has to be past trying to feel like confident or whatever it is. You have to get to the down and dirty reason why you actually want to do this. And that is going to be different for every single person. And I talked about this in my previous video about the mental secret of getting lean, which is the idea of the 5 whys. So you ask yourself, okay, so why do I want to get in my best shape? Then you ask yourself again, why does that matter? And then you ask yourself again, why does that matter? and you keep on doing this until you get to the root of the issue. And this takes introspection and it takes awareness, but once you get to that root, you understand what is the foundation of you doing everything that you have to do to get yourself in shape. And this last part is going to be the most important part ever, which is to prepare for the long road ahead. So a lot of people try to accomplish in 6 weeks, which should actually take a year to complete. And I say this to my clients where it's like, if you want to try to lose this weight, it's going to take you probably like 6 months to lose the weight, but it's also going to take you 6 months to a year to keep this weight off. And it's also going to take you maybe a little longer than that for all of these habits that you're doing to be a part of your identity. And that should be a little comforting for you. You want to have a long time horizon, especially if you're starting from a point where you're not necessarily in the best shape. And this takes the pressure off. You don't have to get in shape in 6 weeks. You don't have to get in shape before summertime. What you can do is you can actually take your time with it and slowly integrate all the habits that we just talked about in this video. And the more time that you have, again, the less pressure that you put on yourself, and the more you're able to really integrate all of these things into your life slowly and making sure that they all stick for the rest of your life. Because it's not about getting in shape once, it's about getting in shape once and keeping it for the rest of your life. So that being said, if you got to the end of this video, I understand that a lot of what I said, this is like the boring consistency, and this is the stuff that not a lot of people want to do. They want to chase the exciting stuff, they want to chase the hacks, they want to chase the cheat codes and whatever it is. And I get it, we all want to chase cheat codes, but if you chase cheat codes, you're not going to necessarily learn the principles and the lessons that you need to learn in order to really facilitate true body transformation. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, like what exactly are you going to do after this video? Let's make a public declaration and say what exactly is it that we want to commit to. And with that being said, I will see you on the next video. Peace.